Now for learning target 4.5, we are doing 4 parts to each problem. First, we need to define the variables. To define the variables, I always look to see what is being asked. And they're asking for 2 things. Those become my 2 variables. So it says to determine the price of adult tickets and the price of children tickets. That's what they want. Actually, that's not grammatically correct, so I'm going to change it a little bit as I write. So it's a price of each kind of ticket. So I'm going to use a capital A for the price of an adult ticket because they just want the price per one ticket out of an adult's ticket. And then I'm going to use C for the price of a child's ticket. So that's the first part. Second part, write the system. Third part, solve it. Well, they told me that there are 2 different scenarios here. I don't know the total number of, well, I do know the total number of tickets sold. That's not what I'm looking for. The first scenario is the Smith family. They bought 4 adult tickets and 7 children's tickets, and together that cost was $35.75. The Klein family bought 2 adult tickets and 3 child tickets, and together that was $16.75. Now, once we have the system, we need to solve it. Typically on these, you're going to use the elimination method, so I want to be able to add these 2 equations together so that one of my variables will drop out. But if I add 4a and 2a, I get 6a, 7c and 3c, I get 10c. Nothing is eliminated. However, I noticed that if this is positive 4, I could just multiply this equation by -2 and it would make this one a -4a. So when I do that, everything in the second equation gets multiplied by -2. This becomes -4a minus 6c equals -$33 and, hang on just a second, I just messed up on that calculation. Yep, I'm okay. It's $33.50. I gotta tell you, sometimes it's too late in the day to be doing this off the top of my head. Now, all I'm going to do is bring this first equation and write it below here, so the 2 that I'm going to combine are right next to each other. Now, when I combine these 2 equations, the a's drop out, so I've eliminated the variable of a for the moment. -6c plus 7c is a positive 1c, and 35.75 minus 33.50 is a positive $2.75. Now, that means that every child's ticket costs $2.75, but I still need to figure out how much the adult tickets cost. So I'm going to go back to one of my original equations. The second one looks like it has smaller numbers, so I'll work with that one. 2a plus 3 times $2.75, because we know C is $2.75, equals my $16.75. So simplifying this down, 2a plus, well, 3 times $2.75 is $8.25. So 2a plus $8.25 equals my $16.75. Subtract my $8.25 from both sides because I want to eventually solve for a here. And I get 2a equals $8.50. So then when I divide by 2, I end up with a equals $4.25. So my final answer, and I wrote some of this in the box already below the box just to make it easier and shorten this problem up. My answer is a complete sentence. Adult tickets cost $4.25 each, and children's tickets cost $2.75 each. Now the second problem, the thing that they're asking me to find, my 2 variables, determine the number of t-shirts he bought and the number of holiday sweaters he bought. So I'm going to use a capital T for the number of t-shirts. Again, it's not just t-shirts. Are you saying the cost of the t-shirt, the number of t-shirts? What about the t-shirts? The number of t-shirts. And H for the number of holiday sweaters. Then I look back at the problem, In this case, it's not two different scenarios, like the two families buying the same, different numbers of tickets. Here, they're actually telling me a total of 15 items and a total bill of $70. That's going to set up my two equations. One is going to equal 15, and one is going to equal 70. Well, the total number of items, it's the number of t-shirts he bought plus the number of holiday sweaters equals the total number of 15 items. And then the 70 is how much he spent. Well, if he bought t-shirts, we don't know how many, and each one was $2, he paid a total of 2 times t on the t-shirts. Every sweater was $10, so he paid a total of 10 times the number of sweaters, we just don't know what that is yet, to find what he spent on the sweaters. These are my two equations. So to solve, to create opposites, now I could multiply everything in the first equation by negative 10 to make it a minus 10h, but to deal with smaller numbers, I'm going to multiply everything by negative 2 to make this a negative 2t. So negative 2t minus 2h equals negative 30. Now when I combine these two equations, I end up with 8h equals 40, and then when I divide by 8, h equals 5. So I go back to this equation, t plus h equals 15, and h is 5. Show my work so I know if I mess up, Ms. Hills know where my things came from and can give me more partial credit, and t equals 10. So my final answer is putting this in sentence form and answering the question. He bought 10 t-shirts and 5 holiday sweaters, and you would write out that sentence. That is Learning Target 4.5.